And another list on the baseball side.
This one's a little easier than second baseman.
Yeah,
this one hurt me a little bit because I had to put guys up there I don't much care for, but you got to put them on the list because you can't ignore it.
well, there was one for sure for me, maybe more. We'll get into it, but
there was a couple.
It's shortstop time. Let's come on in. Let's talk about it, you guys. And we welcome you back to the Midnight Rider podcast. I'm Johnny.
I'm Chuck.
It's baseball season. It's all-star break time, and we're still running through the greatest or
our greatest.
Yeah, what we'll call our best, our favorite, or actually what we're thinking is our best position players since our era started in the mid-70s.
Mid-70s on
area there. This one is going to date it very well for me because there's one guy I had to leave off simply because of the time when he finally retired, and it was just not fun.
Oh, I know who it is.
So, but anyway, we're going to go to the shortstops, who we thought were what we consider somewhat the best
of our time,
anyway,
that we've seen, that I've watched.
Yeah,
so I got I got a few newer guys.
I got a handful of honorable mentions.
Yeah.
See, the thing about what we've been doing here, I tried to find some newer guys that I think should be on the list, and they will be getting better, and will be getting better enough to could possibly be one of the greatest of all time if they continue on the path.
Right.
And that's kind of what I did. I don't know what your.
It's kind of what I did. I've got one. I got one that's going now that made my top 10. And I got a couple on the honorable mention. I think they got the potential.
Shit, I think I've actually got two. No, one. Hell, I might have three guys on. I got two, and well, let's just go. Who do you got at number 10, Chuck? What are you showing at number 10?
He is my one that I got going current. I think's got a chance to really. That's Trey Turner.
I got Trey Turner at number 8.
Yeah, he's
really good.
He can do it all. I mean, he's already hit 3 All-Star games. He's a career 299 hitter.
No, I'm not going to look at the All-Star game thing. It's still a fan vote.
Sure, but you still got to be something, and he fills his position. He don't have any Golden Gloves, but he fills his position. One of the fastest guys in the game still. Career 300 hitter. He's an all-around player. I love watching the guy.
Well, I mean, the guy's 31. The guy's 31 years old. I mean, he's been playing for 10 years now.
10 years,
and he's still. I mean, he's still at the top of his game. He's that guy that you can bring him in. He'll hit 1, he'll hit 2, he'll hit 3, he'll hit 5. I mean, the guy can hit anywhere you want him to.
No.
He's a situational kind of hitter. I mean,
and then like I said, he's still at 31. One of the fastest guys in the league.
Well, I'm looking at a career batting average of 299 after 10. He's been in the 10 years. He's got a career average of right at 300. I mean, the guy is. The numbers I pulled up showed his average out of 162 game average. He's averaging 42 stolen bases a year.
In the era that you don't do that anymore.
Nobody steals anymore.
No, they just started it again with the new rules. But
yeah, that's why I like the guy. That's why I got him on number 8. I think he's got the potential of being one of the greatest of all time. If he continues on the path.
Sure.
And I think this guy has got the potential to continue on that.
Right. Yep. I got a couple more that on my honorable mention.
My number 10, and this one really, really pained me. There's a few guys I had to leave out, and this guy just. I had to put Alan Trammell at number 10.
He's my number 9.
He
was too good.
Well, but I put him under that Lou Whitaker thing we did on second baseman. He was on a team that was really good. It was the Tigers of that era. They were a good team.
Yes.
But
again, I know it's not a huge stat. He had 2,300 over almost 2,400 hits.
I know.
4 Gold Gloves, 185 home runs. Where shortstops didn't hit home runs back then.
Exactly, and that was one reason I put him where I put him. He was one of those guys that could do a lot of things.
Yes.
And back in the day, and I'm going to have 3 or 4 of them in here. The shortstop that could do a lot of things was rare, but there were some guys that were just head and shoulder. I mean, Trammell, he wasn't flashy. He wasn't, but
No.
he did everything you had him
Right,
to do.
and you look in that era, that time frame when he played, there wasn't a whole lot of really good shortstops. They almost all hit 9-hole. They were decent. I mean, you get Rick Burlesons and Bucky Dent.
Well, they were there for their fielding prowess and how they could manage an infield. Right. That's what they were there for.
And Trammell was one of those that came along that could do multiple things.
He had he had the body of a third baseman, but he had the skill of a shortstop.
Right.
And so I had to put him in there. He's at number 10 for me.
Yeah, he was my number 9. So go right ahead to your number 9.
Well, my number 9, and you're gonna hit me. You're gonna say it's a heart play, but I got Javi Baez at number 9. At number 9. I got him at number 9.
Now I do have him. He is one of mine on my honorable mention. But number 9 already?
I just think the guy is just a quintessential ball player. He
is.
He strikes out way too much. I get that, but I've never seen a shortstop. Well, I have. This guy can field the position better than any shortstop I've seen in my lifetime. Yeah. And yes, all you Ozzie Smith people.
Ozzie Smith was great.
This guy covers the position better than any shortstop I've ever seen play the game. And so that's why he made my top 10. He can hit with power, but he strikes out too many times.
Right.
He can steal you a base, but he gets thrown out a little bit too much.
Right.
He's he's reckless on the base path, but he makes things happen on the base path.
That's kind of what kept me up with some of the dumb things he does, the frustrating things that he does.
Exactly.
I mean, he made my honorable mention because he's one of those guys. I think in time, he very well could. Him playing defense has changed. His defensive abilities I've never seen before.
Well, his defense is the only reason he's in the bigs. I mean,
he makes it look so easy.
The offensive buffoonery, that he has, could cost him to be at the AAA level.
Sure.
But the guy, his defense keeps him where he is, and that's why he's in my top 10. Right. Because defensively, I've just never seen one that plays the position better than he does.
No, defensively, I'm with you there.
I haven't. So, who do you got number 8?
This is one of the 3 that just freaking pains me. Ozzie Smith.
I had to put him on mine too. Again, I put him at number 6.
But he falls into that, what I've seen now with Javi Baez. I never saw anybody play the position like him growing up.
Right.
I mean, he could do things on the field. Now, as a Dodger fan, can't stand him.
As a Cub fan, I despise the man.
Yeah, but I mean, 28 career home runs? That's what shortstops used to be. And, But he had over 2,400 hits, but he fielded the position. He changed. He changed.
My deal for
he changed the game.
My big deal for. I mean, I got him at number 6, and number 1, of course, is his fielding.
Yes.
The guy.
That's the only reason.
The guy. He didn't produce many runs, but he damn sure prevented a lot of them.
Yes.
And that in itself, to me, is just like an RBI.
Right.
You're going to prevent 2 runs a game. Well, it's just like knocking in 2 runs a game for me.
And he was on that Cardinals team where they stole.
I know.
Tons and tons of bases.
The guy played 19 years.
Yeah.
And the last year he played, you still didn't want to hit the ball within 20 feet of him.
Yeah, well,
it's just incredible.
13 played 19 years, had 13 Gold Gloves.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the shortstop during that era.
And see, and this is where I think Baez could be.
Yes.
At the end of his career, as far as defense is concerned. Now, offensively, I mean, Ozzie wasn't a great offensive player, but then again, I put him there because he prevented a lot of runs.
Yep, because I was looking. I didn't realize he had that many hits, but then I got to thinking, well, he played 19 years. So that was on
time, at 162 game average throughout his career, he averaged 150 hits a year.
Okay.
Which is still solid.
That's good.
That's solid.
That's good. I
mean, he's a career 262 average. I mean, the guy was a quintessential shortstop for the time. But you put in the defense. Yeah, come on.
Like I say, he's just one of those guys. I never really liked him myself, but you can't deny what he did. So
you had him at number 8.
That was my number 8.
See, I had him at number 6. Yep. So we're fairly right now. I'll go ahead and go with my number 7. I didn't want to.
Well, there's a whole lot of that.
I didn't want to, but I had to put Miguel Tejada on here. And he's my number 7.
I didn't have him. I had him on honorable mention, but I didn't have him. I had a hard time.
The other guys on my honorable mention, you're going to see the struggle. There's some other guys in here, but the thing about Tejada was he was just so damn consistent.
Yeah.
He was just there. I mean, right here in the meat of his career, 308, 270, 311, 304, 330, 296, 283, 313. And he fielded the position well.
Right.
And he was just, 162 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years in a row. Never missed a game. And the year before that, he played 160.
That's more impressive than anything.
Solidly consistent. Played every day.
Yeah.
Showed up and did the job. Hit 300. Covered the position well. Hell, he had 150 RBIs one year in Baltimore. The guy could do a lot. He wasn't flashy.
That's probably why he didn't make my list, because I didn't really.
Yeah.
He just didn't get a lot of. He only played with Oakland all those years.
Yeah.
No, he was good. He was damn sure good.
At the end of the year, end of his career, he played Baltimore in 07. He played for Houston in 08 and 9. Then he played for
he played Houston.
Baltimore back again in 2010. But he also got traded to San Diego. Then he ended up in San Francisco. Then he stayed out a year. Then he went to Kansas.
Yeah.
He hung around longer than he should have, but consistent.
In the heart. No, that was part of the deal, is that he had the good stretch, but then nothing really else. So that's
So he made my list.
Yep.
What do you got at number 6?
Number seven. Jimmy Rollins.
He's my number 5.
That dude, he was, again. He only 264 hitter, but had 2,400 hits. 4 Gold Gloves though. Hit leadoff. Played on a good Phillies team, but he stole bases. He played defense. Played second son. Played short most of the time.
He was my number 5. Watching him play was watching a ball player.
He was smooth.
He
was smooth with that. Not my era of watching in the 90s, and I think he played in the early 2000s too.
Well, he started in 2000. His first year was 2000.
Was it really? I thought he played late 90s. Okay.
He played 17 years. The guy played for 17 years.
I keep forgetting how old I am.
Yeah.
But he was solid. He's another one of those guys who didn't get hurt.
Right.
He played and played.
But let's look at the games. From 2001, 158, 154, 156, 154, 158, 158, 162. Consistency.
Yep.
There every day. Ran the infield. If you got this kind of a shortstop like these guys, they run the infield. They help prevent runs. He prevented some runs. He
hit leadoff.
He hit leadoff. He got there. He could steal you a base. He had
solid.
47 stolen bases, 46 stolen, 41, 30. This guy could do what was necessary to be. That's why he's number 5 on my list.
I had him at number 7, and he was. I started off as honorable mention. I just couldn't deny it anymore. He slowly moved up the board. So
Yeah. Who do you got number 6? My number 6 is already gone.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, my number 6 was Ozzie Smith.
My number 6 was Nomar Garcia.
Didn't make my list.
Not at all?
Well, he's an honorable mention.
Yeah.
He's the one that I kind of knocked out for Miguel Tejada.
Yeah, I can see it. I didn't realize. I actually, looking at his stats and what he did, he's a career 313 hitter with a couple Gold Gloves, Rookie of the Year, 220 home runs. I don't know. He was just that guy that produced, and that good Red Sox team again. Good lineup. Hit in front of Ortiz all those years.
He hit in front of Boggs and Ortiz.
Yeah. He played on those teams that, he was going to see a lot. But I just always thought he was a good ball player. He played his position. I was a fan of Nomar.
Well, Nomar, he was in my list.
Yeah.
He just got slowly knocked out. I agree with you. He had the stats. He had the numbers. He was one of the quintessential old-time ball players.
Yeah.
If the Sox would have wanted to, he would have played there his whole career. But they didn't want him anymore.
Right.
He got a little old.
Here's a guy who came in the league at 19 or 20 and looked like he was 35 already.
Yeah.
And he was good. He was solid for me in that era. In my era of ball, he was one of the better ones I've seen. So.
Well, like I say, it was between he and Tejada to get into my list, and I
can see that. Yeah.
He just didn't make it.
No, that makes sense. I'm good with that.
What was he on yours?
He was my number 6.
Did you do your number 5?
Nope.
Well, you already got my number 5's gone. I got rid of who did I had Jimmy Rollins at number 5. What do you got at 5?
My number 5 is the one that hurt me the most.
Go ahead.
Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah, I had him at number 4.
That one hurt.
I didn't want to put him in there. I really didn't. But
you talk about
why
a guy.
can't
You
you? I
talk
mean,
about
how
a guy
can
who.
you
You
not?
talk about a guy who changed the game and the way some
Yeah.
games were played. I get
Yeah.
this. I get the steroid thing. I get it.
I know.
I don't like the guy. I mean, from everything I've read or seen, he's a jackass.
Yeah.
He's not a team player. But his stats, I mean, 295 hitter, 3115 hits, 696 home runs, a couple of gold gloves in the midst of all that. You didn't see a shortstop that size that could play it.
Well, and this was before he
And-
started the steroids. I
Right.
mean,
Exactly.
and this
so
is
I
another.
had to look at
Well,
that.
this is another Bonds guy.
Yeah.
This guy had it all.
He was good anyway.
He could have done anything and everything
Yep.
he wanted to, but he wanted to do more and more and more.
Right.
If he'd have just played the game with the skills he was given, he would have been one of the all-time greats.
Yeah.
I can't put him up there because of what he did.
Right.
But you can't deny the fact that the guy was a great ball player.
Yeah, I put him right in that same cat. I don't remember where I even had him. Right up there with Palmeiro.
Yeah.
If they've just stayed off the stuff, they were already good. They were already Hall of Fame caliber, in my opinion, the way they played. And they did that, and it just jades everything that you think of.
Well, Palmeiro. Well, we'll get to him. We'll worry about him. I mean, I got A-Rod. I had him at 4. So you're number 5. You're number 5 pick's not out of range. I'm gonna do my number 3.
Yeah, do your 3.
I got Barry Larkin.
He was my number 2.
Yeah, I got Barry Larkin.
Barry Larkin was Barry Larkin was a badass.
Barry Larkin.
I had a hard time not putting him number 1. I almost did, but he was my number 2. He did.
This
everything.
guy. I mean, he played 19 years. I mean, he at 295 lifetime hitter.
Yeah.
I mean, he averaged 15 home runs a year, 28 stolen bases,
Gold gloves.
Stolen
bases.
I mean, my God, this guy could do anything and everything. If you needed a long ball, he'd give you one. I mean, he wasn't a long ball hitter, but
he played for those good Reds teams in the '90s too.
I mean,
but he was the catalyst of that stuff.
The guy was just good at everything. Yeah. I mean, he didn't hit a lot of home runs. He didn't have a lot of RBIs. He didn't have a lot of stolen bases. But he had enough of everything.
Yeah. Again, look at that team he played for. Without him, they don't win.
The arm he showed from shortstop, the range he showed from shortstop, and he was a big guy, but boy, he could get to everything.
Yeah. I had a hard time not putting him number 1.
A leader.
Yeah.
A leader.
Yeah.
And we've said it many times just in this 15 minutes or whatever we've been on here. Your shortstop's got to run your infield. He's got to be the guy. He has to take control, and he did.
Yep.
He was that good. I mean, one I'd love to have had in Chicago. We had Sean Dunston.
You had Dunston.
And he's another reason I was.
Yeah.
He's on my honorable mention, though. Sean's on
Dunston's on my honorable mention, too.
The
So
guy,
I just marked him off.
guy could hit a ball 700 feet.
But he was one of those guys that you didn't see people with arms like. I know we're just jumping to Dunston, but you didn't see guys with arms like Dunston had.
No,
his
but
arm was phenomenal.
Well, yeah, but he'd throw it in the third row.
True, but he would throw it hard.
Every time he'd get a ground ball, you could see Mark Grace going,
where are we going?
Where's it going? Where's it going?
But no, Larkin, like I said, I had a hard time not putting Larkin. Yeah. He's a stud. He's one of the best ones I've seen.
So you got how many you got left?
I got 3 left. I got 1, 3, and 4.
I got 1 and 2. So give me your number 4.
My number 4 is not even on your list, I know, because you're not a big fan, but I always liked him, Robin Yount.
I got Robin Yount more of an outfielder. That's the only reason. It's the only reason he didn't make my list. He played more outfield than shortstop.
Right.
For me.
Right. And he probably did too if I really, really thought about it. But I just always thought of him as a shortstop.
Yeah. And he was a good one.
285 hitter, over 3,000 hits, Gold Gloves. He had a couple Gold Gloves at shortstop.
Yeah. He was not a flashy guy.
Nope.
He was another Alan Trammell for me. But the thing about him is, like I say, he didn't make my list. I had him more of an outfielder. But the thing about him was that in that Milwaukee team that made the World Series, he was the guy.
Yeah.
You had Gorman Thomas, you had Ogilvy, you had
Cecil Cooper,
you had
Sal Bando, I think was on that.
But he was the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't see many pitches, and some bitch still was hitting.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know why I've always been a big fan of Robin Yount. I always have. I don't know if it's something.
Well, because he's a baseball guy.
If it's something that stuck in my head in youth, but I couldn't tell you why I'm a big fan of his, but I always have been. I've always liked it. He's just
a baseball player.
That's the only thing I can think of. He's just that guy.
He wasn't a headline guy. He didn't want the headlines. He just wanted, let me play, shut up, let me go play. But I considered him more of an outfielder. So, but I got no argument. I got an argument.
Well, I got a feeling my number 3 and number 1 are the same as your number 1.
Oh, they are. 2. So I got Jeter at 2. Where do you?
I got Jeter at 3.
Yeah, he's just. I mean, I know you don't like him.
Nope, not at all. But again,
but the thing about Derek, I will always. I'm not a fan of the Yankees at all. I'm a Cub guy, top to bottom, bottom to top. But Jeter is one guy that, like you with Robin, I don't know why I like him so much, but I do.
And see, I've always thought he was a little overrated as far as when you not when you talk shortstop.
Sure.
But when people are throwing him in the greatest of all time kind of talk, I struggle with that. He was good.
Well,
but
that's my argument as well. I think he's one of the greatest shortstops that's ever played the game.
Yes.
Is he one of the greatest players that has ever played the game? No. I don't even think he's the top 20 Yankee. But
no.
I think he is one of the greatest shortstops to ever play the game.
Yes.
For all the intangibles.
Great leader.
All the intangibles he could lead. I mean, a career 310 hitter, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And again, he was one guy that nobody wanted to pitch to, and he still hit 310. He wasn't always surrounded with bats. He had some years in there where he was the guy.
Yeah, but he played in those
lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
But he was always there. He always did. He always played. He was the team type guy. He was never going to play for anybody else but the Yankees. And
5 Gold Gloves.
Yeah, 5 Gold Gloves. Those guys have my heart. The guys that I'm a Yankee. I'm a Cub. I'm a Dodger. I'm a Red. Those guys have my heart anyway. You're going to find that on my list a lot. That loyalty means the world to me.
Yeah.
When it comes to baseball players and baseball teams.
Yeah.
But he's just he's just one of my guys.
Yeah. No, like I said, I'm not a fan of his, but he's definitely one of the best shortstops I've ever seen.
Well, he's just for all the intangibles involved.
So. Exactly.
And so we both have the same number 1, and everybody out there watching the podcast, if you don't know who it is, you don't know your baseball.
Yeah. calripkenjr.
That's right.
Can't argue it.
I mean, how do you
another guy who changed the position?
Yeah.
You didn't have shortstops that big. You didn't have them that hit with that kind of power, that produced those RBIs. And you can have the argument that he had he had the Eddie Murrays and the stuff in the lineup.
Doesn't matter.
The consecutive games played alone. That's a record in baseball that will never ever be broken.
And if we look back at it, there were games where he batted one time and they got him out of there. So he played in that. But I mean, you can just pick it to pieces and say he really didn't play every game of every out of every game he did, and he played okay, but let's go there.
He was on the field.
But the thing about it is he hit in those lineups with Eddie Murray, but you know what? They pitched around Ripken a lot to get to Eddie Murray because Ripken was just that good.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was clutch.
I mean, this guy could, what did we, 430 home runs, 1,600, or damn near 1,700 RBIs. Hell, he hit 44 triples. I mean, he played 21 years. I mean, the guy was... And
he won some gold, I don't know, 2 or 3 Golden Gloves. But he played in that era with Ozzie Smith and that group. They're winning other Golden Gloves, but career 276 hitter for playing that many years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he played 21 years and he averaged 91 RBIs. For 21 years.
Yeah, for a shortstop, which is said that you didn't do that. The shortstops, you had a few here and there that were produced, but nobody produced it like he did.
No, now did he have the range of an Ozzie Smith or a Javi Baez or a Barry? No. But did he need it? No.
No.
Because where Ozzie may have stopped a couple of runs, Ripken's going to produce a couple of runs.
He'll knock in. He'll hit 3
Sure,
runs.
he'll turn you a double play, and he'll get that.
Yep.
He'll make that out. He's consistent as hell on the diamond. Great defensive player. A lot of Gold Gloves. He led the team. He did what he needed to do. He was an inspirational player. I mean, come on.
And he shifted that's what made it so easy for him to make that shift to third base, because he didn't have that.
He didn't have the
tremendous range anyway.
No.
So the move to third base was just.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fluid for him.
Sure.
It was no big deal. So,
Sure.
yeah.
All right, good top 10.
Yep.
We were pretty close on a lot of
Pretty
them. Still
close.
Some honorables. I couldn't put Ernie
Honorable
Banks on there. I really wanted to
knew
put
that
Ernie-
was one you were talking about.
I mean, his last year was 71. Yep. I mean, I was, I really paid attention to the 69 Cubs as best I could. That's when Dad really introduced me to the Cubbies, and that's whenever I really started focusing. Yeah. Yeah, I became a really big Ron Santo fan. That's why I played third base in the league, and we get the news in the paper because you didn't see any Cub games in Oklahoma.
No.
And Banks played on that team sparingly, and then he retired in 71.
Right.
So
I never saw
But by then he was a first baseman. But he started out as a shortstop, but I just couldn't put him on there as far as my era is concerned. You put Julio Franco on the first base list. I had him at shortstop.
Oh, okay.
I did.
He did play shortstop.
Again, he was barely missing my top 10.
Right.
Give me a couple of years.
I had a current guy. I got Corey Seager.
I had him on here too.
I think he's a guy that he keeps putting up. He can play his position, but he keeps putting up numbers after numbers and the home runs, and he's a career 290 hitter. I just think
is it 290?
Yeah. I've always thought he was, even when he not just because it was a Dodger, but I hated. That's one of the guys I hated to see the Dodgers lose, but they needed to. But that guy, man, he is. I just think he's got a chance if he stays healthy.
I think
it's been kind of a little bit of an issue.
I mean, he's one. I only wanted to put one, maybe two current guys on there,
right?
Because the shortstop list wasn't stacked. It's kind of like second base.
No.
Yeah, I got Francisco Lindor on mine as far as an honorable mention, but he wasn't going to come on. He wasn't going to get on my list.
Right.
But I had to put him down just as someone to look at. But the other guys I have here on my honorable mentions, and I got 5 more. Let me hit you with them.
You got 5, I got 3. So
and I'm gonna tell you, and you're gonna see why this position. These guys are honorable mentions.
Right.
You're gonna see why the shortstop wasn't just that strong. I got Bert Campaneris simply because of all the World Series. He won some titles with the A's. He was a great shortstop on a great team.
Right.
So I got Dave Concepcion for the same reason.
Yeah,
he was the same player. See, without Concepcion in the middle of the Reds, would they have been that as good? I don't know.
Hard to tell.
Would another shortstop prevented them from winning those titles? No. But did he help them win? Yeah.
Well, him and Morgan up the middle were a good duo.
That's why he's on my list, because he and Morgan were a great combo in the middle.
Yep.
Omar Vizquel.
Yep. He was another one on mine.
Oh, I mean, come on.
He was like the anti-Ozzie Smith during that time.
God, that's a great analogy.
He was.
That's a great analogy.
11 Gold Gloves, but he had 2,877 hits. He only had 80 home runs, but Ozzie Smith had 28. But Vizquel was.
You didn't need home runs from Vizquel. You had Albert Bell.
Exactly.
You had Thornton. You had
Alomar.
Yeah. You got a list of these bombers over there in Cleveland.
Yeah.
You didn't need.
I loved watching Vizquel play. I loved watching him play.
And see,
a little bitty guy.
I wanted to put him on the list, but Javi had to make my list because of the reasons that we talked about Javi.
The guys on my list were just I just think they were just that much.
Yeah.
Just a little bit better, but
I got Tony Fernandez.
Yeah, I thought about it. I didn't put him on my list. I only got one guy left. Fernandez was good.
The only reason Tony Fernandez is on my list, the only reason, he won a World Series title. And the team he was on, he was a vital part of the team. Sure. He was vital.
Yeah.
I think he was one of those guys that he was a very important piece to that team, in my opinion.
The Blue Jays,
Now, you can go in there and say there's 9 guys on the field, it's a 25-man roster. If he wasn't there and you had somebody else in there, would they win? More than likely,
Probably.
yeah. But I just what he did for Toronto, I think, was very vital in them winning the World Series. It's the only reason he says.
Sure was, because he had the top. I believe he had the top of the order for them. So
he did.
He was he was that stolen base guy. That he got move a runner over.
He got it started.
Yeah.
Great little shortstop.
Yeah. No.
Good up the middle. Nope. Great glove. Who's your last guy?
Last guy I had was Gary Templeton. He was one of the. I know.
I never liked.
He was never a great player, but he stuck in my head. He's one of those guys that he was a switch hitter.
Yeah.
Played at St. Louis. Played at San Diego. He just seemed to me, and it maybe just me in my head again, but he seemed to me that he was always producing something. He was always on base. He was stealing bases. Yeah. He could field his position.
Well, he was a guy.
Another 2,000 hit guy, career 271 hitter.
He had some troubles though, you know. He was a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah,
people didn't like him.
He was a jackass.
He wasn't.
Yep. But like I said, I think it really stuck in my head growing up. Anyway, he was a switch hitter.
Yeah.
Hit leadoff. It was a guy that, like I said, he stole bases. He could hit with a little bit of power, not a lot, but.
Again, though,
gap shots, doubles, triples.
He was a consistent defensive player on the field.
Right.
He was a great guy up the middle.
Mm-hmm. And I said, never a huge fan of him. That's why he was only on my honorable. He was the last of my honorable mentions.
Right.
But I say Padre Cardinal guy, but he was always a vital part of those teams.
Well, to be good enough to be traded for an Ozzie Smith, the Cardinals got rid of him because he's a head case. San Diego didn't care. I don't know why they unloaded Ozzie Smith. But I guess he just didn't put enough runs on the board. I don't know.
Because they're the Padres.
Yeah, that's true too. They've never been great for making deals.
They don't. Not one of their Dave Winfield.
Yeah, we can go. They kept Tony Gwynn.
Willie McCovey. Yeah, they did keep Gwynn.
Kept Tony Gwynn. Oh, but anyway, all right. That's our shortstops for our little series we've got rolling here. We'll hit third baseman on the next one so hang tight.
That one's going to be fun.
That one's going to be hard.
There's more third baseman. That one's going to be. There's going to be some thinking on that.
That's going to be hard. Yeah. I mean, because there's a lot of good third basemen out there.
Well, you got that mixture of defense and power guys.
Well, it's going to be a little bit more. It's going to be a little more detailed as to why we choose. I mean, second baseman and shortstop weren't too bad. I mean, you had 15 guys that you really choose from. You need to pull 10 of them in there,
right?
And throw in a couple of current players that could possibly get in there. You could throw the Concepcions, the Campaneris. You can throw them out and put two new guys in there because the shortstop positions. It's kind of changed.
It's changed a lot. That's what I'm saying.
To what it is these days.
I mean,
and that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, you could do one list that everybody before the 90s and one list after the 90s, and the position is totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
You look at. Well, you look at the stat lines, and it's totally different.
Yes.
What used to be a good shortstop and what is a good shortstop, or what you needed out of your shortstop to today to what you really need out of your shortstop. Since the pitchers aren't hitting anymore, you don't need that move the runner along guy or bunt for a hit guy.
I mean, you take your Javi Baez and a few others out of the mix. Your Trey Turner, whatever. Tell me the best defensive shortstop in the league. Exactly. Exactly. It's not a vital part of it. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Well, it's not what's talked about anymore.
Well, I look back if we go back into the 70s when the pitchers hit. Mm-hmm. You go back in there and you've got a lot of your shortstops, your Ozzie Smiths, your Gary Templetons, your whoever the guys we ran across here.
Right.
A lot of them hit in the 8-hole.
Sure.
And your job as an 8-hole hitter with that pitcher hitting behind you was get the ball in play. Yeah. Don't get up there and take a walk to let the pitcher come up. You need to get on base. These guys had to swing at pitches they wouldn't normally swing at because their job was to put the ball in play so the pitcher either has to hit with somebody on. They didn't want that pitcher.
No. Just look. I mean, Bill Russell, Larry Boa, Bucky Dent. Those guys. I mean, they were not in there for their offensive prowess.
No,
that's
what made there for defense.
That's what made shortstop so tough for me because you have that change, the change of the position.
Well, sure, but that's also, but if we look at it, that's also what made some of them so easy to pick. I mean, you got a guy like Ripken who was great at defense and great in the field. Yeah. Jeter, great at defense, great in the field. I mean, Larkin. I mean, you can go down the list of probably the 6 or 7 guys on our list. that they had it all.
Yeah, they could do it all.
They could play in today's game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
But they kick the shit out of most of their team players because they're not team players. But, but the thing is it's a different position. But back in the day, they were all right. So, but anyway, we can argue about that for the rest of the day because
that's what we do.
We always say the older players are better players because, well, they are.
Facts are facts.
Straight facts. Anyway, we appreciate you coming in. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, comment. We'd love to hear what you said. I don't know if there's any other shortstops out there we missed, but if there are, do let us know. I'd love to talk about them.
Yep.
At least give you a comment back on the site to show you that we, are listening to you. Any other list you want us to do? We're going to continue the baseball list throughout the rest of the season, and we're getting ready to start doing some preseason college football. Be looking for those podcasts as well. We're going to throw an Olympic cast up here as well. It may already be up. We already got the Olympic cast
Go
up.
check. It may be up already.
I think it's up already. I lost one last week. We did a
hell of a show that nobody's ever going to see.
We do because somebody deleted it off of the and
I thought it was award winning.
I fired him after it happened is all I'm saying. But anyway, we appreciate you. Come on back next time and we will see you then. You got anything else, Chuck?
I do not. Just come back and please get online. Check it out.
Subscribe.
We're good.
We done?
We're good.
We're done.
Lock
See you
it
next
down.
time. Thanks.
See ya.